Oftentimes, partnership gets thrown around a lot as a term that a software company might use to describe their services or how they work with their customers. But I think it gets thrown around a little bit too much and a little too loosely. So I'd like to tell you a story about partnership that's a little different from the ones that you've heard in the past. A while back, a company that's named PC Construction decided that they wanted to innovate and change and move forward in the future, specifically on their pre-construction teams. And they decided to take a look at Beck Tech's estimator solution as the solution for them that they thought might get them where they needed to go. Now, initially, everything looked great. They moved forward with the deal. The team included a couple of their senior estimators, Mike Stedding, Todd Riordan. There was their CIO and a handful of their other estimating team all worked together to both go through a pretty exhaustive selection process and make sure they've got the right product. And when they chose Estimator and moved into the implementation part of the program, they ran into a couple of issues around some really specific parts of their pre-construction process. While they were hitting these issues, working with the implementation team, it started to become clear that our product didn't have all of the features they really needed to fit that pretty specific part of their process. Couple this with the fact that at about the same time, the whole world gets turned completely upside down when COVID hits and everybody is sent home. Now, this added a completely new challenge to the PC Construction team because now they had to have an estimating team who was used to working in the office, where they had an IT infrastructure that was used to supporting estimators working in the office, now working from home on a number of different locations with varying different types of connectivity and bandwidth capabilities. And you can imagine at this point exactly what the estimating team was running into, where some estimators had almost no bandwidth working from remote cabins in extreme environments, and then an IT team who was scrambling to not only keep up their business, but also support this newly acquired pre-construction software. At this point, there were some serious concerns about their team's ability to move forward using our tool. And this is where the story really begins when it comes to partnership. At this point, we recognized the PC Construction team was in trouble. And instead of sending them a EULA or telling them, hey, this is our minimum requirements for a computer, the very first thing that we did here at Beck Tech was to get every single senior leader that was involved in implementing this deal, that was involved in selling this deal, that was involved in supporting this person, and all of the senior leadership at Beck Tech on a call with all the key players at PC Construction so that we can understand exactly what they were seeing and find a way to help. And at first, what this looked like was a every single week call with our team and the PC Construction team to identify every issue that every single individual estimator was hitting and work through those issues, find workarounds, look for ways to increase the bandwidth or change how our program worked for their infrastructure so that it would actually perform in a way they needed it to, as well as have all the functionality and features that it needed to have. Even if it was a workaround at first, we continued to work till we got a solution that worked for them. And what initially was some pretty big firefighting on those early days became smaller firefights, and then they became fire prevention. And then later, we simply would just meet weekly because we had built such a great relationship with the team. And I remember the day when we had kind of realized that the meetings weren't really covering that kind of important ground they needed to cover in order to necessitate some of the firepower that the PC team was bringing to the conversation. And we decided that, hey, we probably don't need to have these meetings anymore. It was pretty bittersweet. It was definitely something that I look back on with a little bit of sadness because I did appreciate their partnership and the level of effort they put into working with our team. It's easy to talk about all the success stories. It's easy to share the stories about when you had a great relationship with a customer that stayed great the whole time. And we've got 1,000 of those stories that we can tell. We live those stories every single day where a customer never runs into hardship. And it's easy to be a partner in those times. But the real measure of partnership doesn't come when everything's working great. The real measure of partnership comes when things are not working great, when you need somebody in your corner, when you need somebody that's going to help you, when you need somebody that's not going to give up until you have exactly what you need. And that's what it means to be a partnership with Beck Technology.